Ladies and gentlemen, a very pleasant good evening. Kindly stand as we acknowledge the playing of the national anthem of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, as well as the national anthem of Barbados. Kindly be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Mia Amor Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados, His Excellency Dr. M. Infran Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, members of the Guyanese delegation, Minister of Agriculture of Guyana, the Honorable Zulfikar Mustafa, the Honorable Sabato Cesar, Minister of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries, Rural Transformation and Labor, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Honorable Indar Weir, Minister of Agriculture, Food and Nutritional Security, Mr. Regis Chapman, Representative and Country Director, United Nations World Food Programme, members of the Barbados Cabinet, and members of Parliament, Geneva Rostindale, Consul General Acting, Ambassador to CARICOM, His Excellency David Commission, Special Envoy to Suriname and Guyana, Mrs. Althea Wiggins, Permanent Secretary, the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Nutritional Security, Terry Bascom, Chief Agricultural Officer, Ms. Keely Holder, Mr. James Paul, Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Agriculture Society, Mr. Peter Chase, President of the Barbados Agriculture Society, Directors of the BAS Board, Permanent Secretaries, Partners, Sponsors, Primary and Secondary School Principals, invited guests, members of the media, a very pleasant good evening to you. I'm Antoine Williams. Welcome to historic Queen's Park. Historic because of the story that has been told years ago and the fact that this, in our Barbadian landscape and trademark, is a pride of place. So we welcome you, and we also welcome you to Agrofest 2022. It was remarked that whenever there's Agrofest, we can expect some drizzles. So this is nothing new to us. But we welcome it, because surely in the context of greening, yes, the drizzles are certainly important. This year's theme is simply this: greening together, a Caribbean thing. And you know the little Caribbean flair just now, right? And in true Bajan parlance, when we talk about a thing, we're really talking about an experience, a series of events, perhaps a circumstance or a situation, but one that certainly highlights Bajan flavor and Bajan essence. And we twin that with the regional flavor and the regional essence. And so the theme for this year's Agrofest, Greening Together, a Caribbean thing, is extremely vital, especially in this time when we speak of climate change, resilience, and so much more. I now offer great pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, in welcoming Mr. James Paul, Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Agriculture Society, to offer the official welcome.
Honorable Prime Minister, Barbados, Mayor Amor Martley, and President Irfan Ali of Guyana, other ministers, other honorable ministers, members of cabinet, other distinguished guests, members of the board of directors of the Barbados Agriculture Society, sponsors, exhibitors, members of the press. On behalf of the board of directors of the Barbados Agriculture Society, I would like to extend a welcome to you to Agrofest. This is the 18th year, actually, that we are holding Agrofest. It's after we revived the National Agricultural Exhibition. And as Antoine mentioned, actually, Antoine is he is the original thing, the original MC. He was here from the beginning also, too. And as you know, our country has been going through it's not an easy time that all of us in this part of the world are going through. And it's a challenging period in our history. And of course, one of the things we recognize that it forces us to think differently. And this Agrofest in itself is no different. And of course, one of the things I want us to recognize is that, and we recognize in this Agrofest, we can no longer afford to continue to do things in the same way that we did them in the past if we are to achieve the milestones of growth for the agricultural sector, because that is what this Agrofest is about. Indeed, it is a time when much will be expected from the sector because, of course, as many of you recognize, there is so much at stake at the moment. Every institution is facing challenges, and the BS itself, which actually hosts this event and done it for 18 years faithfully, is seeking at the same time to reinvent itself and to be more relevant at a time of crisis, both existing and potential. The world is expressing anxiety about food, and its availability is becoming an increasing concern for citizens of many nations. We in Barbados, we are seeing the crisis being reflected. From time to time, you hear complaints about increases in food prices. And that is how we're seeing it reflected, but in some cases, in some countries, there are shortages. Therefore, institutions that we have available to us, such as the University of the West Indies, must understand that agriculture is not about building structures, but assisting in understanding the biological processes in the growth of plants and animals and manipulating them to achieve better production of food for us human beings. We believe firmly that, placing buildings on valuable agricultural land without the benefit of consulting with all the players in the agricultural sector is something that we want to encourage. And I want to take the opportunity to publicly thank the Honorable Prime Minister for the fact that she is taking the time out to consult with the players in agriculture on matters as we move forward. Agrofest seeks to bring together the various stakeholders to have a better understanding of the sector and the role they can play in achieving a viable sector and the importance of the linkages between the various sectors of our economy. Your presence here is testimony to the fact that you recognize that the sector can benefit from all of our efforts here. Our visitors from Guyana and Suriname, we welcome you and anticipate that if we work together, respecting each other's strengths and capacities, much can be achieved. Our distinguished guests and sponsors, I welcome you also to the effort, as your presence here shows you understand that change is needed and different strategies are required. More important, I hope that by your presence at Agrofest, that our farmers emphasize that our farmers need to be listened to and respected for the knowledge that they bring. Without that knowledge and experience, agriculture will not progress. We have to dismiss the speculations of armchair agriculturalists and speculators in this endeavor and respect those who have something to show. And at Agrofest, you will see something to show. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to Agrofest. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm sure you would have no objection in my taking the opportunity to recognize that yesterday was Guyana's Independence Day. And they, like Barbados, became independent in 1966, and they're celebrating their 56th anniversary. Please, let's give them a round of applause. All guests from Guyana, we celebrate with you. And certainly, on our Day of Independence, November 30th, 1966, Barbados established diplomatic relations with the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. And so today, we continue to deepen those ties by collaborating on key matters of mutual interest, such as agriculture. And I'm sure that in itself will augur well for our diplomatic relations. I take great pleasure now in welcoming the Honorable Sabato Cesar, Minister of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries, Rural Transformation, and Labor of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, to offer remarks.
Prime Minister of Barbados, the Honorable Mia Amor Motley, the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, His Excellency Dr. Ifan Ali, members of Parliament, members of the Diplomatic Corps, representatives from the public and private sector, stakeholders, farmers, fishers, food producers, agro-processors, the media, a blessed afternoon to all. It is definitely a pleasure and an honor this afternoon to be here to celebrate Agrofest 2022 with you. I bring greetings from the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and I wish to congratulate the government and people of Barbados for this excellent showcasing that we are going to witness this evening and over the upcoming days. It is definitely a wonderful time to be alive in the Caribbean. There are many challenges, there are many adversities, but as a Caribbean people, we continue to show our resilience. If we take a cursory glance as to what is taking place in our world, the challenges of climate change, the increases in food prices globally, and the knock-on effect on food security, the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, definitely there is a call to action. And I want to congratulate the people of the Caribbean for our hard work and dedication. This evening is a moment to celebrate. We are celebrating the hard work and efforts of the stakeholders in the agriculture sector. But as we celebrate, we must also reflect, because we are coming from a very long journey of challenges. And in our celebration and in our reflection, we must prepare the way for future generations to access the very important food production platforms that we are establishing. I want to congratulate the leaders in CARICOM, because never before have we ever seen such a concerted effort to advance food security in our region. And we definitely need to give ourselves a round of applause. Today, there is an expression of a clear political will We are able today to mobilize the factors of production to advance the agriculture sector. And we are depending on all stakeholders in Barbados and in every other member state of CARICOM to ensure that there is excellent implementation. I am happy to be here. I am still grappling with the vagaries of 32 volcanic eruptions, which I experienced a year ago. And I must apologize for the ashfall in your country. Let us continue to build together. Prime Minister Motley, His Excellency President Ali, Minister of Agriculture, Guyana, Minister of Agriculture, Barbados, let us continue to unite and lift CARICOM. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Certainly setting the tone as we focus, and not only focus, but celebrate a very important aspect that follows throughout the entire Caribbean region, that being agriculture. Allow me to also recognize the Honorable Onij Walron, the Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce. We welcome you to Barbados, part of the Guyanese delegation. And so now we continue as we take great pleasure in acknowledging, ladies and gentlemen, and welcoming the importance of the international agencies and how they, within their program structures, merge what we are doing across the Caribbean. This, ladies and gentlemen, augurs well for continued relationships. And so now I take great pleasure in welcoming one who, for over 20 years of international development and humanitarian experience, being served with the United Nations World Food Programme in the variety of contexts since 2015. Our speaker, ladies and gentlemen, has extensive experience in humanitarian and developmental programs around the world in a variety of program leadership roles. So now we invite Regis Chapman, representative and country director of the World Food Programme, Caribbean Multi-Country Office, to offer his remarks.
The Honorable Mia Amor Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados, His Excellency Dr. Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Minister of Agriculture of Guyana, Zulfikar Ali, other delegates from Guyana, Minister of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries, Rural Transformation, Industry and Labor of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Mr. Sabato Caesar, Minister of Agriculture and Food and Nutritional Security of Barbados, Mr. Indar Weir, Cabinet Ministers from Barbados, Peter Chase, President of the Barbados Agricultural Society, James Paul, CEO of the Barbados Agricultural Society, members of the press corps, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you here today. The World Food Programme, or WFP, has been supporting CARICOM to conduct critical research on food security here in the region. Today, we know that 39%, or 2.75 million people in the English-speaking Caribbean are food insecure. In other words, unable to satisfy their basic food needs. Loss of jobs and income and increasing costs are key factors leading to the current situation. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine will inevitably make the situation worse through further increases in costs for virtually everything that we buy here in Barbados and neighboring small island states. Russia and Ukraine provide 30% of global wheat exports, 20% of global maize exports, 73% of global sunflower oil exports, and 12% of global crude oil exports. At those levels, it really doesn't matter whether these are important sources of imports for Barbados or not. The knock-on effects of supply chain disruptions, increased fuel costs, increased prices for commodities, increased costs of fertilizers, and other issues will likely be felt hard here in Barbados and surrounding countries. The main causes of food insecurity are again, largely related to food access rather than availability. In other words, the high costs make it difficult for the poor and most vulnerable to sustain a healthy diet. So what do? Well, we need creative initiatives to increase demand for local foods and encourage healthy diets and combating non-communicable diseases and obesity, while also supporting local and sustainable agricultural production. National programs and initiatives such as Agrofest here in Barbados are critical to achieving this outcome. WFP is planning to further support communications and advocacy campaigns to help create greater demand for locally and regionally produced foods in order to increase the demand for traditional crops and help us get back to our roots in more ways than one. Employment in agriculture in the region has decreased in all countries in the Caribbean, with the exception of Suriname over the past 20 years. WFP fully supports the vision of the Prime Minister of Barbados, the President of Guyana, and other Caribbean leaders to increase production and reduce the food import bill for the region. WFP supports national governments to strengthen food systems, to increase access to affordable and nutritious food, while also building resilience in times of emergency. And this work includes equipping countries with adequate logistics infrastructure and capacity, and empowering smallholder farmers with enhanced access to markets. But we need to balance bigger investments with the individual efforts. The WFP and CARICOM surveys are also showing that more of us in Barbados are engaging in farming activities with backyard gardens and raising poultry. Agrofest is really also a great opportunity to help get more Bajans engaged in small-scale agriculture. Every little bit counts. Finally, data gathering across the region is critical to ensuring that supply is available when demand is highest. Farmers need to have access to information on which markets will want their products and at what time in order to facilitate their planning. We know that it's critical that there is access to good, nutritious, and affordable food for everyone. Now more than ever, before it is clear that we need urgent action to revitalize food production within the region with simplification of transportation and port handling across the islands, as well as the use of technology. But just as critical is a focus on youth in agriculture. WFP has also partnered with CARICOM to support initiatives to increase awareness of youth participation in agriculture. We need to start building that next generation of farmers and safeguarding food systems in the Caribbean for the future. So again, congratulations to the organizers for the return of this event. I look forward to taking in all the exhibits and learning a bit more about the fantastic work and innovations in the agricultural sector here in Barbados and in other countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As was noted in the remarks offered by James Paul, the Ministry of Agriculture plays an integral role in the development and, of course, the continued presence of Agrofest. And so this year is no difference. And it brings me great pleasure now in welcoming the Minister of Agriculture, Food and Nutritional Security, the Honorable Indar Ware, to offer remarks.
The Honorable Mayor Amor Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados, His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Minister of Agriculture of Guyana, the Honorable Mustafa Zulfikar, Minister, the Honorable Onej Waldron of Guyana, the Honorable Sabota Caesar, Minister of Agriculture of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Cabinet colleagues, members of Parliament, President and CEO of the BAS, all stakeholders, distinguished ladies and gentlemen all. Today is indeed a day of absolute pride for me as I stand before you. To note, first of all, that after 2 years of disruption due to COVID, we are back with Agrofest, and we are back with its theme, Greening Together, a Caribbean Thing. And it is significant that at this time, we are speaking to a Caribbean thing simply because I'm indeed certain that were there any doubts in the past that CARICOM can come together and stand in unity for one common good, I am convinced beyond a shadow of doubt after my visit to Guyana last week to attend the Agri-Investment Forum that I have never seen in my entire existence, and I've been following CARICOM, Caribbean Single Market and Economy, and Caribbean and regional politics for the longest time. And this is the first time in our existence that I've seen so many heads of CARICOM come together with one common theme, reducing our food import bill by 25% by 2025, all in agreement of this initiative. This, I must say, that I extend heartfelt congratulations to President Irfan Ali and Minister Zulfikar Mustafa for leading the charge in making sure we reach this point. Because when this idea first started at Caribbean Week of Agriculture by the Honorable Mayor Motley, in 2018, when I first became minister, I felt like I had a load on my shoulders. Today, what I am seeing is how easy, if we work together, we can unpack the challenges, deal with them, and do the heavy lifting towards achieving a common objective. I am convinced that when you walk around Agrofest over this weekend, you would see, first of all, the opportunities that are available in agriculture, but equally those who are grabbing with both hands the opportunity to participate. And I'm indeed proud that we have led the way with the Farmers Empowerment and Enfranchisement Drive, our FEED program, which is our national flagship program that gives every single soul an opportunity to participate in agriculture once he or she has the will so to do. My friend and colleague, my brother Sabota Caesar, is apologizing for the ash. I don't want to jump ahead of the Prime Minister, but I know she would say thank you for it. Because that ash has given us increased yields in our sugarcane production. When I look at our mango trees, and we spoke about this last night, I am seeing more mangoes than I've seen before. And I'm sure that when we do the numbers, we will see that we have had increased production in our fields as well. So I want to thank you for the ash. I don't want another volcanic eruption anytime soon, though. We have a lot to achieve
on this mission. But we all know and we all agree that the longest journey starts with the first step. And I strongly believe that all of what I'm seeing now in CARICOM, to make sure we achieve the simple objective of reducing CARICOM's food import bill by 25%, possibly 50% by 2025, is indeed doable, and it will be done. The work we've started here, tomorrow we go to River in St. Philip to visit Bronx Pond, which is finished. Well over $5 million in investment by the government of Barbados to provide water for the people at River in St. Philip, and a 6 million gallons pond will be presented to the farmers over there by Prime Minister Mayor Motley and His Excellency Dr. Irfan Ali. We will also visit Lears to see as well a 21 million gallons reservoir over there with a program that would facilitate well over 100 new entrants into the market and 100 acres of land for crop production and black belly sheep production. We are well on the way to getting our black belly sheep program started between Barbados, Guyana, and Suriname. And as soon as we get that up and going, we will start the rapid expansion program with special breeder programs as well. And we have worked this week with the poultry and pork producers as well to look at their challenges and to be able to address them and provide assistance where we can to make sure we continue to keep them going, but more importantly, to achieve growth in the livestock sector. Ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to note the work that has been given to the farmers in terms of support, in terms of technical support, in terms of financial support, but I am indeed pleased that the heads of CARICOM have agreed that they are now the new frontline workers. And therefore, President Ali, I thank you, but I recognize that in order for us to achieve anything, first of all, we have to repeat, and secondly, we have to do, and do more. There are challenges. We have, first of all, to find a way to settle our SPS challenges, simplify the process, get everybody on board, and make sure that we have between us the sort of working relationship that information can be passed in a very seamless and quick manner so that goods can move throughout this region without restriction. We have to work on as well on our tariff barriers to make sure that we break them down. And we have to work as well on our non-tariff barriers to make sure that we provide that ease of movement within the region. Challenges with logistics are before us, and those challenges are being dealt with so that when we look at the opportunities available in airlift for cargo, as well as moving ships throughout the region to move goods from one area to the next, then we start to address these challenges. And of course, a legislative framework dealing with predatory larceny as well must come in place. But I firmly believe that if we can get all on board, and we can get our young farmers involved, get those who are without an opportunity on board, we will probably not have to worry too much about predatory larceny. And that is what is driving us in the Ministry of Agriculture to make sure we can get enough people on board, because when a man is able to participate, he feels part of the system, and he is no longer going to be able to offend his colleagues or his fellow man when he is part of the system. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we have been called to action. I like the camaraderie between the Minister of Agriculture in the region. You heard for yourself, my brother Sabota Caesar. And this now will be our new way as we go forward. And that action, ladies and gentlemen, will follow everything we do from this day on. I invite you to enjoy Agrofest. I want to thank the President, Mr. Peter Phillips, Mr. James Paul, CEO. I want to thank my team at the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Nutrition Security, and I thank all of you, the people of Barbados, who have come out to support. I want to thank the Guyanese delegation for coming. I want to thank the Surinamese delegation for coming, and I wish you all a successful Agrofest 2022, bringing together a Caribbean thing.
Thank you very much, Minister Ware. Thank you for your poignant remarks. Let's turn your attention now to artistic quality. And so we welcome, through a virtual performance, a dance piece entitled One Guyana Song. Ladies and gentlemen, do enjoy. One Guyana song. And this weekend promises to be an exciting one because we know that we will witness Barbadian agriculture and agricultural products on display. And in addition to that, we will also welcome, witness, and enjoy the delegation from Guyana and Suriname. One weekend Barbadians always look forward to, Agrofest. And due to the COVID pandemic and with the ease which we also celebrating, there's another major Barbadian activity that we are eagerly looking forward to. Perhaps it's cricket, horse racing, but I can tell you, we can't wait for crop over. And this year, ladies and gentlemen, we will certainly hear the music of the festival. We will enjoy the color, the rhythm, and of course, the food and beverage. And now, I invite a Barbadian soca junkie to favor us with a sound that perhaps fits well as we celebrate Agrofest with its theme, Greening Together, a Caribbean thing. Please, let's welcome Mr. Dale.
So nice. Well, I stand and hear the speakers pounding from miles away, and so I had to come and catch a piece of this vibe. But up on thousands of my family in a soca session going all through the night. My people celebrate. Y'all bumper rolling like dice. The rhythm was spinning. Keep the thing pumping, Mr. DJ. All night and all day. Make every woman and man inside the band put up the hand and sing this one. Oh, oh, oh. My Agrofest so nice. Barbados nice. Oh, oh, oh. This party's so nice. So nice. So turn up the vibe. Go dig up on ice. Cause everything nice. Lift your spirit up to the sky. Glad be alive. Celebrate me life. Cause it is a prize. And nothing in the world sweeter than it. Nothing in the world sweeter than this. Nothing in the world sweeter than this. If you can't wait for crop over, can I hear somebody make some noise? Something living in the rhythm does be like medicine, with a cure for all the stress of everyday life. Yeah. People of all color, class and grade come together as one and unite. What a feeling! The vibe lift me up so high, I'm touching the ceiling. Keep the thing pumping, Mr. DJ. Whole night and all day, make every woman and man put up the hand and sing this one. Oh, oh, oh. My Agrofest so nice, I say it nice. Up on ice, cause everything nice. Lift your spirit up to the sky, glad be alive. Celebrate my life. It is a prize waiting. Nothing in the world sweeter than it. Nothing in the world sweeter than this. Nothing in the world sweeter than it. I said nothing in the world. So nice. Continue to celebrate Agrofest and crop over coming very, very soon. Mr. Dale signing out. We love you.
Thank you very much. Nothing sweeter. Thank you. And we know nothing sweeter than crop over. Yes. The strengthening of our relationship with Guyana is truly a celebration. And today, we are pleased to have President of Guyana, Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, who holds responsibility for agriculture in the CARICOM Quasi-Cabinet. And he's with us with the Guyanese delegation. And so now we celebrate and we welcome him to offer official remarks.
Thank you very much. My dear sister, Prime Minister Motley, members of the Cabinet, members of the diplomatic community, distinguished public servants, our priceless farmers, members of the media, my respected elders, good evening. Good evening. I'm very pleased to be here today to join in this very important festival, Agrofest. Indeed, Barbados is nice. And speaking after such beautiful rhythm is a very difficult thing. I also want to make one claim. There's a ripe mango over my head. If it falls, it is mine. But we're meeting under very difficult global circumstances. Circumstances that has created havoc in many economies. Empty shelves, rising cost of living, but more importantly, shortage of food supplies. Amidst all of these challenges, here in Barbados, you must be proud and grateful for the tremendous leadership you have in your Prime Minister. An outstanding CARICOM leader, and someone who I draw great inspiration and motivation from. Her commitment to regional food security is unbelievable. And that tells you a story. The issue of food security for this region cannot be looked at from a border perspective. Because each one of us in this region, each country, comes with different challenge, but each one of us brings a unique opportunity in creating the solution. And that is why over the past months, building off of the Prime Minister's charge of 25 by 2025, building off earlier initiatives like the Jack Dale initiative, we have been putting a lot of energy in bringing agriculture and food production at the spotlight of this region's development. And why are we doing this? Why is it so important that as a people, we in this region understand that agriculture must be at the center of what we do? As I speak to you today, one of the most recent headlines in The Economist is about the coming food catastrophe. Only last weekend, we saw headlines in international news of a military mission for baby formula. We're seeing headlines across every single country about empty shelves and rising costs for food. Wheat price is forecasted to increase by 40%. But worse than this increase is the ability to supply. And we know in this region, like many other developing economies, when there is a shortage of supply, we are not the top priority for the demand that exists. That is why we have to fix this. And we have to fix it as a collective. We have to understand that the challenges that will come will impact us the most. And our only tool to mitigate those challenges is increasing our own production, removing sometimes the thoughtless impediments to trading between ourselves, to sharing between ourselves, and opening up opportunities through which we can sustain ourselves in a reliable manner. For sure, the more than 100% increase in fertilizer costs, the 30% increase in input for feed supply will continue to put pressure on prices. So we have to do a few things. Not only must we produce more, but we also must change our consumption pattern. We must look more towards what we produce. And as farmers and government, as private sector and distributors, all of us must be part of this process. We cannot safeguard the people of our country unless each of us give a bit. For the large distributors in the region, you have to see yourselves more than distributors now. You also must be part of the production process. You must expand your business model to be part of the production process. If we don't do this, then we cannot reliably secure and sustain the present business model. Our business model must change. It is only when that business model changes that we can pull all the segments of our society together. If we distribute more of what we produce, we will help to break the cycle of consumption that comes from extra-regional sources. And you have an excellent opportunity now, because governments in the region, as Minister Indar pointed out, are ready and willing to embrace you on this journey, to embrace and support you on this journey of transforming our food infrastructure, our food value chain. We are already working on a master plan for the region to enhance our food production system, our support system for the farmers. But we also are conscious that the immediate need is also to secure supply. Whilst we are building our productive capacity, whilst we are building our transportation and logistics system, we have to look at markets that can sustain our supplies in the immediate future, because there is a major food catastrophe coming. That is why Guyana and Barbados, and today I just want to spend some amount of time, I assure you not too much of your time, to elaborate a bit on this model that we are seeking to create with Guyana and Barbados. It is a model, Prime Minister Motley and I, we are convinced that once we can show the results of this model, it is a model that can be replicated all across the region to create a win-win scenario and position for all of us. But we cannot see ourselves as competitors. We cannot see ourselves as opposite side of the same wicket. We have to see ourselves as a singular collective, a singular partner working together for one common goal and vision. That is to give the best possible opportunity to the people of our country, to bring prosperity to the people of our country, to put food on the tables of our people in this region at a less cost, at a sustainable cost, and in a much healthier fashion. That is what we are hoping to achieve through many initiatives that we are pursuing. But these initiatives would not see or bear fruit unless we enhance our trust of each other. And that is why, at the level of the government, we are trying to demonstrate that we want to create a trusting environment, an enabling environment in which we must work trusting each other. This is an important factor in advancing the relationship. It is because of the new dynamism in this relationship and this trust that I'm talking about, that today we have more than 150 Guyanese participating in this Agrofest. We have more than 55 companies participating. And this is only the beginning. I assure you, this relationship would get stronger and better and create a win-win position for Guyana and Barbados. Very soon, with the Minister of Agriculture from Guyana, who is also the chair of the Ministerial Task Force, we are working with Minister Indar in bringing a team from the state of Roraima, northern Brazil, to Barbados. They're advancing technology in every sphere of agriculture. And we want them to come here to work with your farming community, to work with your farmers, to work with your private sector, your distributors, to see how we can do things better. And I assure you that all the plans that we have, all the ideas that we have, will be done in total consultation and support of the people, the stakeholders in this sector. Because unless we have the full participation and buy-in of the stakeholders, we will not realize the success we want to. The relationship that we are building between Guyana and Barbados is to bring economic prosperity to both countries. We are not looking at winning in one area or creating a situation where we're carving out an area for you and an area for Guyana. That is not what we want. We want a holistic approach to this relationship and this development so that we create economic prosperity in every sector and in everything that we do together as one country, Guyana and Barbados. This relationship must advance security. And we are not talking security in the narrow sense of physical security. Today, and I want to pause in recognizing our Prime Minister, Prime Minister Motley, for being, not that we in this region needed an affirmation from anyone to tell us how influential she is, but we must recognize that the world has recognized the asset we have. And I want to pause to recognize you and congratulate you on behalf of the people of Guyana, your extended family. But the security we are talking about in the Guyana-Barbados CARICOM model is how do we ensure that our people and our countries remain secure under the environmental threats and the threats of climate change? How do we remain viable and secure under the threats of food security? So we are talking about security in the wider context. And the relationship we have embarked on is to advance security on all these different platforms. That security and this economic expansion and cooperation I speak of must be built also on a platform of respect and fairness. That is why not only at the level of the Prime Minister and the level of the Cabinet, I have seen tremendous change and improvement in the relationship at the level of the private sector and technician, and this is what is needed. People-to-people contact, people-to-people integration, people-to-people partnership is what is going to cement this relationship moving forward. Today, Prime Minister and I were discussing new ideas. And we said that it's important that we build the institutional mechanism to secure these gains that we are making right now. Because long after us, there will be those who will have to manage what we are building, and it can be easily thrown away unless we cement these advances in an institutional way. So that is part of what we must do in creating this winning environment. Indeed, this new environment requires a new approach. It requires us to examine areas in which we have synergies. It requires openness and frankness in our conversation. But it requires us also to be forward-looking. We cannot be thinking and working at the moment only. We have to be forward-thinking. We have to understand the challenges of the future and build now the framework and mechanism that will mitigate against those challenges. So the relationship is built on an innovative pathway that includes every segment of the society. I just wanted to speak a bit about this relationship because there are a lot of persons looking on at the development and evolution of this relationship between Guyana and Barbados. And I don't want us to lose sight or to be motivated into some other narrative, but to understand the context and the narrative through which this relationship between Guyana and Barbados is blossoming. And I'm focusing on Guyana and Barbados tonight because we are here to celebrate Agrofest with you. We are here to launch a number of initiatives. As I speak to you, young people from Barbados are in Guyana receiving training in the agricultural sector, in shared house development, shared house management, and they will return here to build shared houses and to manage shared houses and participate in the agricultural process. At the same time, our Minister of Tourism and your Minister of Tourism are discussing ways in which you can help us to train 6,000 young Guyanese in the hospitality sector. We don't need to look beyond the region. We know the strength that you have in tourism and hospitality, and we are working with you so that you can support us in building this sector as the need is growing in Guyana. Whilst we sit here this evening, Guyana is preparing to ship to Barbados our first tranche of shade houses prefab in Guyana that will be assembled here by your young people who are trained in Barbados in 1 month to accelerate your agricultural development. I'm identifying real projects that we are undertaking in just months of relationship to advance the progress and the ideas and the targets that we are setting ourselves. We are working in an accelerated way to remove the hurdles that we have in our transportation and logistics, not only between Guyana and Barbados, but further afield. We are already examining development partners and stakeholders that will work with us to help us to move limestone to Guyana, to bring corn and soya to Barbados as input at cheaper costs to help the feed producers. That will help the poultry farmers, the livestock farmers. We are working aggressively on twinning our economies, starting with tourism. And we are offering, I've already discussed this with Prime Minister Motley, that we are working to create a link between northern Brazil and Barbados directly, so that you can access millions of people as a new market for your tourism, especially off-peak. To do this, we have offered space to Barbados in our consulate office in the state of Roraima, where Visit Barbados, Barbados Tourism Authority would establish themselves to promote Barbados and advance your tourism product. We are launching, well, let me finish with this tourism point. We are working on merging our tourism product, and we are working towards operational efficiency and cost efficiency by marketing jointly Guyana and Barbados as a singular brand. In markets that we are, we will market Barbados. In markets that you are, you will market Guyana. We are looking at creating a winning formula for both Guyana and Barbados. That is the objective. In all of this, we want to build prosperity. We want to build prosperity and improve livelihood options for every single family in Barbados and Guyana. We are launching the Barbados Black Belly Sheep Program in Guyana with the support of Barbados. We are advancing this project. But I came here to tell you that Prime Minister Motley and I have even advanced this idea one step further. We are setting aside 50 acres of land to be owned by young people as part of the Black Belly Sheep Project in Guyana. 50 acres to be owned by persons with disability. 50 acres to be owned by single parent women. And importantly, 50 acres that will be owned by your young people here in Barbados. These farms will be working together in an integrated way to supply the market here. We are working on training your butchers here so that they can do the best cuts, and Barbados can work on creating that logistics hub of moving these products on along the market chain. These are the type of initiatives that would bring long-term and create long-term sustainable relationship to what we are advancing and the path we are taking. The Guyana-Barbados Food Terminal It's not only aimed at helping the farmers and helping the movement of produce. It is not only aimed at reducing the cost of food on your table, but it is aimed at developing an important transshipment hub for food here in Barbados to move on to different hotel chains and other Caribbean islands, to move on to Miami. We must believe that we can do it. We must stop thinking narrowly that we cannot achieve these things. We understand that there are challenges and hurdles, but where in life that success came, you did not have to overcome challenges and hurdles. We are setting bold targets. We are working on bold and innovative ideas. At the end of it, it is only bold thinking, bold initiative, and pursuing those initiatives and ideas that would ensure we are successful in this challenging world at the end of the day. We are also launching the Guyana-Barbados Gold Market. We are launching a housing program in which we seek to support the objectives of each other. We are working with the two private sectors, bringing the private sector together to look at opportunities in both countries, to help us in capital formation, to deploy their capital so we can help them to build their businesses as the first option. We are working to create a value chain for development. We are working to create a value chain for development. In one go, with the embryo project from the state of Roraima, the artificial insemination, we can double the livestock in all of CARICOM in 9 months if we take a collective approach with the best possible breed of animal. The technology is there. The science is supporting it. We now have to embrace that science and that technology. There are many who will tell us our market is too small. But our market is not only the people in the region. Our market are the tourists that comes here. Our market is all those who we have trade agreements with. And we must stop thinking that we are too small to advance our products in those markets. We can differentiate our products. We can have the best of organic pineapples that carry twice the market value. But we have to be thinking people. The Caribbean and this region, we are blessed with thinking people. But sometimes we spend too much time talking and pondering. Great ideas die because we spend too much time pondering and talking. We have taken the bold step of setting ourselves target as regional leaders so you can hold us accountable to those targets. And we are not going to sit and wait to accomplish these targets. We need everyone to come on board and come on board quickly. So you too have a responsibility. All of us have a responsibility in this era of change if we want to accomplish the targets we have set. I am convinced beyond the shadow of a doubt, like my friend from St. Vincent, the minister from Barbados, Guyana, all of CARICOM and the leaders, we are convinced that not only can we achieve the target of 25 by 2025, but if we pursue this plan, we are going to surpass it by far by 2025. I end by saying, together, we have the greatest opportunity in our future, in our history, to advance a path that will be forever remembered. It is up to us to embrace this opportunity, or once again, to let it slide to another generation. I opt for the first option. I thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, President of Guyana, Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, as you indicated and taken us on a journey as far as the capital ideas and plans are concerned. And I am assured that the strengthening of the relationship will augur well as we work together as one. Prime Minister Mia Motley attended the CARICOM Agri-Investment Forum and Expo in Guyana, which was held from May 19th to 21st. And on that occasion, as in others, thank you. During the forum, Prime Minister Motley continued her strident call in relation to the region's food security. And now I have great pleasure in inviting Prime Minister Motley to offer concluding remarks as we celebrate Agrofest, we celebrate the theme, Greening Together, a Caribbean Thing. Ladies and gentlemen, Prime Minister of Barbados, the Honorable Mia Motley.
Please sit. Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. My dear brother, the Honorable President of Guyana, His Excellency Mohamed Irfan Ali, Ministers of Guyana and Barbados, distinguished guests all, and of course, all who are listening to our voices. I don't believe that I have to add much this evening to what has just been said. And if we are going to act in harmony, then I have first and foremost adopt the entire speech of my brother just delivered here on behalf of the people of Guyana and Barbados. This relationship, as I have said when I last visited Georgetown, goes back way beyond 170 years. And indeed, Barbadians left in droves just after emancipation to come to Guyana to help build the sugar industry and the factories. Guyana was able to repay that by leading in Barbados the process of industrialization in the 1950s and 60s and 70s. And then, of course, Guyanese have worked back and forth here over the course of the last 20 years, boosting Barbados's construction industry, boosting Barbados's agricultural sector. Indeed, when we go tomorrow to Brown's Pond, I am sure that you will see the evidence of exactly what I am talking about. I say these things only very briefly to tell you that we believe that we are standing on a strong platform, and that it is time now for us to move to the next level, especially as we face these multiple challenges that have confronted us over the course of the last 2 years. That President Ali and Minister Mustafa have been able to move with lightning speed over the course of the last 18 months to put this region in a position where we not only endorsed the plan in March in Belize at the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting, but were able then to meet in Guyana last week in perhaps one of the largest agricultural investment fora ever to be held in this Caribbean region in the post-independence era, is of significant mention from us. And we thank you both for leading that effort. I want to thank my own Minister of Agriculture and his entire team, the Permanent Secretary, Terry Bascom, the Chief Agricultural Officer, Keely Holder, and all others. Mr. Leroy McLean with the Black Belly Sheep Program and others. And of course, Mr. Paul, you joined the team with us in Guyana last week to let you all know that the work which you have been putting in on behalf of Barbados to allow us to work with the people and government of Guyana on these critical projects is absolutely essential if we are going to make the cost of food and access to food more available. It is a shocking thing, as you heard from the representative of the World Food Programme this evening, that almost 4 out of every 10 Caribbean people are considered food insecure. We have a responsibility to turn that around. And I believe that our ability to master one, production, investment, logistics, and processing will help us to do so. So as I said, I am not going to repeat the words of my dear brother. I want to also salute those who have come today to also help us put on this Queen's Park ground a model house coming from the excellent hardwood that Guyana has to produce, in a position to be able to allow us to meet the interests of having that silent revolution in housing in our own country. Last year we were badly hit by Hurricane Elsa, and we are still struggling to finish the repairs and the rebuilds that are necessary because of the vastness of the demand on the government, and because of the fact that 90% of those houses that were destroyed were from people who lie below the poverty line, and 95% of them are people who were not insured. We believe that this model house here presents some opportunities along with the other solutions that we have laid on the table. And we invite all Barbadians, as you visit Agrofest this weekend, to also take a visit of that house to see what potentially can be available for those Barbadians who are badly in need of housing. I thank you, President Ali, yet again, for ensuring that once again you opened up the opportunities for our two countries to work together in this critical area of housing. So whether it is in the area of agriculture and food security, whether it is in the area of housing, whether it is in the area of the logistics, whether it is in the area of the gold exchange, whatever it is, we have recognized that in this world, you are not going to be able to succeed if we try on our own. Just simply asking for us to even place orders, as you heard from President Ali, we are at the bottom of the chain because persons don't believe that these numbers really excite them in any major way. And that is why regional unity is needed now more than ever if we are going to turn the corner and to move away from these multiple crises. I have said that the world is at war. It is at war with COVID, it is at war with climate, and regrettably, it is at war with war. And if we in this region don't work together to turn it around, we will not get anywhere. In Barbados, our own people are facing the ravages of what it is to see cost of living increase in ways that we did not expect 5 years ago or 3 years ago. Because of the circumstances that I just referred to, we have seen prices rise at a rate that is really unsustainable and unacceptable. I have asked the different ministries to start working yet again with the different players to see how we can contain these prices and how we can shield people where we cannot contain prices. Indeed, this is an effort that is being undertaken globally, and one only needs to look at what happened in the United Kingdom with the Chancellor of the Exchequer up to yesterday to understand that this is not a problem that is unique to the Caribbean region. But when I walked in Guyana last week, and I could see pineapples at the equivalent of what would be $1 US, and almost all forms of ground provisions at between 25 and 30 and 40 cents US a pound, then I know that we have a solemn obligation to get the transportation issues that are bedeviling us solved, and to get those other obstacles that preclude the easy importation of produce and products in this region into one another's borders, that we have an obligation to solve it. And that is why I have willingly accepted to work in this project with you, President Ali, because we cannot see produce rotten, or we cannot accept the word glut in our vocabulary as we go forward in circumstances where our people need access to cheap and affordable and good food. More importantly, the processed food that we are importing over and over, and this is where I end in talking not to the people who are here, not to the government ministers and public servants alone, but I want to talk to the consumers of Barbados and the consumers of the Caribbean. Because in your hand lies the choice. And more often than not, what is causing our problems with respect to escalating healthcare costs, escalating hospital costs, comes as a result of our inability to eat properly. We have a duty to do as our forebears did, to eat what we grow and to grow what we eat. And we have a duty to ensure that in so doing that we can manage our own health. I have spoken over and over about the danger of the pesticides and the other things that are being used on our food crops that reduce our resistance to antimicrobials to be able to fight off, that we need to fight off viruses. We have a duty to talk with each other and to understand that what may come fast and easy may not always be best for us. Now is the time for us to get the equation correct. Get it correct in terms of eating what we grow and growing what we eat. Get it correct in terms of not using the kinds of pesticides and fertilizers that will cause us harm as human beings. Get it correct in terms of ensuring that we don't simply use a plantation model to the development of agriculture going forward, but that we use a combination of technology, investment, and education of our young people to ensure that we get the best returns out of agriculture. And that is why you will hear us, President Ali and myself, talk all the time about how we will involve more young people in respect of agriculture. And that is why we sent the first set down to Guyana to do the training in the construction of the shade houses and to work elsewhere with them to learn how to do what they're doing under those shade houses. We also intend to involve a partnership with the development of shrimp and prawn farming, because we believe that we should not be importing these things into our tourism market for our hoteliers to buy, but we should be able to produce them locally. And it is this combination of youth, investment, technology, and the confidence that we have, buttressed, of course, by the choice of the consumer, that will allow us to turn the corner with respect to where we can get to being food secure in this Caribbean region. My friends, there is a house that I want us to tour before it gets too late. And there are stalls that we want to visit. But before we close, I want simply to say to the consumer that we're not only looking at the back end for you. We have in Guyana, seen last week, the launching of the Starbucks Marketplace, which will allow us to be able to have a digital marketplace that will be available to all of our producers and all of our consumers. And why? We know today how often people do most of their shopping on this thing called a phone or a computer or a tablet. And we must not be left out in the region from having a marketplace that is available to our producers so that they can let you know what is it that you are producing and selling in Guyana or Trinidad or the Bahamas or Belize or Barbados or Jamaica. And if we can do that and use ourselves as that domestic marketplace, as that base, then the world is our oyster thereafter, because the one thing that the technology does is to democratize access to the entire world. I want to thank my brother Sabota Caesar for coming here and representing the people and government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We believe that the opportunities for partnership with St. Vincent and the Grenadines in terms of complementing each other with agricultural production is very much there. With your altitudes and with your mountains, there is no reason why we should not be importing Irish potato, English potato from you and those other produce that require a cooler temperature rather than seeking only to bring them in from the North Atlantic countries. And I hope that you and your brother, Minister Indarware, and Minister Mustafa, therefore, will start to look and see how St. Vincent and the Grenadines can complement us in what we are trying to do here with respect to food security. Similarly, our friends, our brothers and sisters from Suriname are also here. We believe in the Brokopondo Agreement, which we signed in 2018 and which we reinforced in 2019. And we hope that that combination of working together can finally bring the results that you, the ordinary people of this region, want. But you must meet us halfway by making the changes in your habits and in your choices to ensure that you put Caribbean food and Caribbean food security at the top of your list. Because when no one else will be there for you, we in the region must be there for our own people, because a time will come where the export restrictions and the transport obstacles may make it difficult for us to feed our people. President Ali, you could quite easily have said you were busy. Your presence in Barbados at this first Agrofest after 2 years represents your absolute commitment to the region and to ensuring that this project of food security in the Caribbean is something that you are not simply writing out on paper or making speeches from Georgetown on, but your presence here will motivate our people in understanding that there is a train that has left the station, and that train is the Caribbean Food Security Station, and its captain is Irfan Ali. I know that you are on a cricket ground. I know that you are a cricket fan, and I have every confidence that when this part of our history is written, that you will have scored a triple century. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister Mia Motley. In all things and for all things, we must always give thanks. And so now I invite President of the Barbados Agricultural Society, Peter Chase, to offer the vote of thanks.
Good evening, the Honorable Mia Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados, His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Ephraim Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, agriculture ministers across the region, cabinet ministers from Barbados and across the region, dignitaries, the BAS board, James Paul, media, workers, farmers, and all. Thank you for a wonderful evening. It was a hard decision, but the right decision after 2 years to push for Agrofest. We had weeks. Some on the board thought I was a little pushy. Nevertheless, with the support of the Barbados government, especially Minister Weir and his team, we made it. Today, I want to say to our CEO that I fully agree with you and understand and support you that the BAS must be more relevant, and that we must push, as President Ali and our own Prime Minister spoke so often on food security. And with their help and others in the Caribbean, we will achieve that. To Minister Caesar from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I thank you for your remarks. I also recognize and accept your apology, but I also thank you, like Minister Weir did, for the ash you sent over. I can tell you that my fields, my coconuts, and my crops are blooming. To Mr. Chapman, the World Food Program Director, I totally understand what you said when you inform us of the 39% of the people suffering for food and the food shortages. We at the BAS will work with your organization and others in the world to achieve food security. I thank you. To Minister Weir, and I must tell you that Minister Weir and myself sometimes we lock horns because he's a hard taskmaster. And my job is to wake up the farmers in Barbados, and sometimes that is not easy. But I'm grateful for your encouragement. I'm grateful for your ministry's support. And I look forward to better things to come. And I will continue to do that and to support and push the farmers in this country. And I thank you for coming here today and sharing some excellent thoughts and words in the spirit that you delivered. I close by saying that when we thought of, I must say to the ministry, when we thought of doing Agrofest and we had some calls and we said, let us make it a CARICOM thing. We came up with the theme, Greening Together. I must admit that I did not like the word greening, but I was outvoted because in agriculture terms, greening is a problem, it's an issue, and it affects the plantains and other areas of food crop. And it's a disease that once when I lived in Florida, I came home and my fruit trees were cut down. And, you know, we wouldn't really want that disease, but certainly I say that we have to build a Caribbean nation that will support food security. And greening is the word then that we need to have our fields green. So without any delay, I thank all of you. I hope that many of you will, in the next 2 days, will visit us at Agrofest. You will bring out your companies, your friends, and encourage your children to understand that the Caribbean governments, along with the BAS and all the agricultural societies across the region, are pushing youth in agriculture, women in agriculture, and we are looking to do better for you. We want you to eat local. We want you to grow local. We want you to understand local, because the NCDs that we face must fall, must come down. At this time, as I close, I invite you to walk around with us. We'll see a lot of booths already. Some are setting up. The animals are due to arrive, a lot of the animals. We had postponed them to 7 o'clock, so they'll be bursting through the gate. But we have most of them here, and I look forward to meeting with the press and others to tell you about the plans. I can say that in the next 2 weeks, Prime Minister Motley has given us a task in the poultry and the pork associations to meet with her and to come up with a strategy for all Barbadians and Caribbean people. And we look forward to Mr. Paul being in the office on Monday morning to complete and to be ready for that task. So I thank you. Welcome to Queen's Park. Welcome to Agrofest. Enjoy 2022. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President of the Barbados Agricultural Society, Peter Chase. And his personal invitation to you is certainly clear as we stage Agrofest 2022, greening together a Caribbean thing. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this segment of our evening's ceremony. Yours is now the invitation to tour and certainly enjoy this wonderful festival. Thank you. Good night.